Okay, let's try that again. This is the Austrian side of the 1 p.m. turn. The movement to the south by the Prussian cav has pretty much been stymied. We'll see, though. There's, it's as units become disrupted and then undisrupted, etc., it's almost a give and take as it sways back and forth. The units that attacked aren't in great shape. Anything the Prussians have sitting back can still attack. But they definitely took some losses. They were also stymied all along the line, except for in the one area where they had an overwhelming advantage. They were pushed back in a lot of cases and took some losses. And finally, the Pennevier cavalry failed to become effective enough to engage, but they are closing range. In terms of morale points, the Prussians took a severe beating, actually. That's going to put them getting close to demoralization, but the Austrians are already going to have to start rolling very shortly. So we'll see how it goes. We've got the Austrian counterattack coming back. They're going to have to reform that cav rather than just charge in. And they're going to have to try to pull something like a defensive line backwards. Interesting thing that I realized early on, I was worried about the ability of the Austrians to just pull their army off the map and win. Games that do that kind of disturb me. But here, it's clearly a reasonable option. If they can get out of there without taking casualties, they do deserve the minor victory. It really means that the Prussians aren't pushing the attack hard enough. Beginning of the 2 p.m. turn, the Austrians mainly took this as a chance to recoup and pull some of their units back. Of course, they had to fight with the units that were still engaged. That meant driving the Prussians off with artillery fire in one location and losing a unit in the other. But for the most part, they were able to get their cav back in order. They had to pass a demoralization check. They had to roll not a 1. Otherwise, there are some significant effects on morale, command, etc. And that's about it. Halfway through the 2 p.m. turn, the Prussians managed to get their Pennevier wing fully active for the first time in a while. And that moved up and smashed into the Austrian left flank, causing some problems there. Likewise, in the north, the advances finally pushed out of Kej or whatever, and up to the artillery. That's going to force the Austrians to attack across there after a bombardment. And they also moved forward and deployed their infantry all the way on the left flank of their line in order to harass the cav a little bit. Their own cav more or less recovered during the respite that was allowed. That's it. Started the 3 p.m. turn. What we saw, Austrians pulled up and chased those cav away. No combat. The strong Prussian attack on the point again with the artillery was brushed back. There was artillery in the stack behind it between the two of them. They were able to weaken what it was facing, and it routed the Prussian unit that was left behind and pushed the other one back. No real action over on the extreme left of the Austrian army, except to extend it, try to protect that line a little bit. Those lake-like things are, as far as I can tell in the rules, equivalent to streams, so you can just kind of walk across them. They look more dangerous, and that's about it. Neither army is demoralized, and both are in the danger zone there. Prussians are definitely not going to push this to be a longer battle. They're hoping to get a lucky demoralization on the Austrians, but we'll see. Halfway through 3 p.m., last turn of the game, the Prussians are kind of desperately trying to make a push to get... Right now, the victory point situation is precisely even. So they're trying to drop one more Austrian victory point, and so far it doesn't look like they've managed in this turn. They did do a push up against some of the fortified held positions here. Fortified, I don't know, but on the hill. And they gained a little bit of ground, but at costs. And hitting the artillery back here, again, they took as much damage as they gave. Pennevier did not attack. He was trying to, well, he did clear out those Croats, but that doesn't do much. And an attempt was made also on the Cav, but they ran away, of course. Alright, almost done. Here we are at the end of Prague. The Austrians were forced into a couple of attacks by that last Prussian advance, and those did not go very well for the Austrians. Although the Croats did a job disordering one unit. The couple of other points where they were attacking, the Austrians actually routed from. Went to look at the morale track at the end, and the Austrians barely became disorganized, or became disorganized at the very end. The Prussians missed doing so, so they're still in good shape, sort of. If they take casualties, the other army is going to be disorganized as well. Victory point-wise, I counted it up. The Austrians have slightly more victory points. I think one, maybe it's tied, but it's not sufficient to cause any kind of victory, so it's considered a draw. I don't know. It's the kind of game that once you do get used to playing it, there is definitely, it becomes much easier. Not having to refer to the rules, etc. But when you forget a little thing, it becomes hell. And I can think of a few little things that I'm still not sure on. So, for example, I just found out that, gee, artillery don't count for victory points. Did they belong over on the morale chart? I'm not sure. Artillery count if they're captured. Anyway. I'm going to push on to the others in this series. I've played games before where the first in a series didn't make me happy. Musket and Pike, which I absolutely adore. Some of the later games in the Gustav Adolphus one, I really despised the pure Cav scenarios. I don't know if we're going to see a difference here, though. Familiarity will help, but there just doesn't seem to be a lot to the game beyond, in terms of strategic options, it's very much like those old quad games. In terms of ease of play, I don't think it really has that. I may end up playing, I think I'm going to end up playing Twilight Struggle just as kind of a break from these. Maybe I'm tired out on tactical. All right.